remember, there's some very important information right here. Might want to pause and take a look real quick.
Yo! Hey everybody, it's me, Sonic! Sonic the Hedgehog! Just here to remind you that if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button. And for even more amazing customs, don't forget to subscribe to Wake Angel 2001! Because between you and me, they're way past cool!
Hey everybody, this is Wake Angel 2001, and I know this is a little bit on the nose given the subject matter, but this has always been one of my great holy grail customs, as it were. Excalibur Sonic. Now I know we actually did get an official Excalibur Sonic figure put out by Jazzwares, but it was unique in that it was in the 5-inch scale. They never actually made anything for the 3-inch scale aside from, you know, Sonic holding Calibur in itself. So none of the other knights or any of the other toys that could have been marketed from that game got made in this particular scale. And I didn't like that. I've always wanted to have an Excalibur Sonic in the 3-inch scale, which is where most of the Sonic characters were. But of course, that was over 10 years ago. The game did come out in 2009. So this is something that I've been wanting to get to for 10 years. Isn't that's quite a lamentation that I had to carry on my shoulders. Part of the deal was that I couldn't just make this from any Sonic figure. I wanted it to be properly made from the Black Knight Sonic, the one that actually has the gauntlet for holding the sword. I mean, I could have done this with any Sonic figure, but it just didn't feel right. Like, I felt that it had to be this Sonic. And a couple years ago, whilst attending Big Apple Comic-Con, I actually did find one at one of the dealer table's loose action figure bins. He wasn't in very good shape, his joints were kind of falling apart, but I was able to fix him up and make him into a presentable Sonic figure. If you're wondering why he doesn't have any feet here, it's because he was a temporary shoe model. I used this exact Sonic figure to show off some 3D printed soap shoes that I made a while ago. But now he is achieving his true destiny. The first thing I had to do, of course, was sculpt in some symmetry. He has a gauntlet on his right hand, but nothing on his left, so I sculpted the gauntlet patterns onto the left hand to go along with his right hand. It's curled up into a fist, so, you know, that just kind of makes it look a little bit cooler. And then paints it up with that glorious gold and silver palette that creates the, that golden armor look that we have going on. So already I can feel my dream coming true. Okay, real quick, I just wanted to show the age of this figure. On the left is the leg that this Sonic figure came with, and on the right is a leg from a later Sonic figure release. As you can see, the mushroom pin that goes into the figure used to be much thinner than they make them, than they made them later on, because they don't make them nowadays because the line's been discontinued entirely. But there was an initial complaint that those little pin discs would snap, especially when they were being played with by smaller kids. So Jazzwares responded to the feedback by making the pegs much thicker in later releases, making the whole broken pin discs much less of a problem later on. In fact, if you look closer, you can see that there's stress marks in this pin disc. So this one, like, it's a miracle that it actually survived long enough for me to buy it. But now that that's over with, I sculpted on the leg armor around the, legs of this figure, and, I'm matching the way that the armor looked in the game. So, Sonic's, not just the game, but I also used the actual 5-inch Sonic figure as a point of comparison, and Sonic doesn't have anything around, like, his hips are completely unencumbered. I guess that kind of makes sense because, you know, he may be wearing a suit of full plate armor, but he does still need to run. Although he did end up flying in that boss fight, but you know what I mean. So that's why even here, Sonic isn't wearing pants. He's wearing, like, you can almost think of it as he's wearing metal thigh-high boots, but he's still not wearing pants. The armor on the body is relatively simple, just in that pointy shape with the little crotch guard that he has going on. And I use craft foam to do those things on the side that the cape sticks out of. The cape itself is made out of a piece of rubber that I cut into the proper shape and all that to fit around there. It's flexible enough that it can have a little bit of a billowy thing, but it's not going to fray on me, and it's not so heavy that it throws the figure off balance. And that is about as much of the armor that is actually hand sculpted. Now we get to break out the 3D printer. So once again, thanks to Corey SonicFan22 for providing me with the printable models from the game. Let's start with the boots. I should have asked them to take off those wing things from the shoes because they did not want to print right. They were too thin, and the way they kind of flowed over the shoe just kind of meant that they didn't have much of an attachment point. But I was able to use them as a basic support structure to actually sculpt better looking little... I'm still going to call them the shoe wings because I honestly don't know what else I would call them. So that gives us a good old pair of the Black Knight boots. And with that, you kind of have a full set of the Excalibur armor, or as I like to jokingly refer to it, the Headless Golden Knight. Now, let's save the helm for later, because what good would Excalibur Sonic be without, Excalibur? He needs to wield the greatest of the sacred swords. So I made this. It is a model that I made myself in Tinkercad, and I'm just going to call it the Excalibur Blade, because it's basically just a blade with some attachment point for the hilt. The hilt and guard is all hand sculpted, and yes, it is very small. So yeah, a lot of really tiny detail work went into this, and once all this was done, I drilled a small hole in the bottom and embedded a toothpick to be an attachment point for this. The handle is cut out of an actual toy sword. I did this to get some good action figure friction on the hand so he'd be able to easily hold the sword without worrying about anything snapping or scratching or anything like that. There's just a particular plastic that action figures are made out of. For points of comparison, here is the official Excalibur toy, the one that came with the 5-inch Sonic and the Black Knight figure, in comparison to the one that I made, just so you can have a little bit of context on the design. And that gives us the helmet. You see this mess made out of my old red filament? That's what happened the first time we tried to print the Excalibur helmet. Yeah, Corey thought that he translated the game files into an STL, but it turns out that he left a lot of gaps that the program didn't recognize, so it kind of printed out like this hot mess. Fortunately, Corey's a pretty solid dude, and he went back and reworked the model, allowing me to be able to make this print, which it does have some flaws because it's a really complicated shape, but I was able to work with it. Using a little bit of epoxy and scraping out some loose threads, I was actually able to make a very presentable helm using the model that he provided. Of course, I also had him remove the wings from the side because that wasn't printing very good. I decided instead to make the wings out of craft foam, so, that's fine. So, with them attached and everything painted up, you got yourself a pretty darn good Excalibur Sonic helm. I mean, look at this thing. It's awesome. I mean, it's a medieval knight-style helmet, but it's also Sonic's head. There's no part of this that isn't awesome. So speaking of which, let's go ahead and put this head on the body and have, finally, Excalibur Sonic in the 3-inch scale. And here he is, Excalibur Sonic in all of his golden glory. Oh man, I have been wanting to make this for such a long time, and I finally have. And it's all thanks to you guys. It's thanks to my watchers, it's thanks to the people that have supported me, it's thanks to Corey who helped get the models, otherwise this head wouldn't have looked anywhere near as awesome. And this is just a dream come true for me. Full disclosure, the final battle against the Dark Queen at the end of Sonic and the Black Knight is my favorite final boss in all of the Sonic games. Yeah, I mean, that may be kind of a weird one, but it is indeed my favorite. As a man who has who can count on one hand the Sonic titles that I haven't had a chance to play, mostly because I never owned the consoles they were on, I can definitively say the Sonic and the Black Knight fight, that final boss against Merlina, my favorite of all time. So I thank you all for watching this video, and we'll catch you on the next one. This is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.